My female friend was saying that dating as a woman is the hardest thing in the world because you can never find a good guy. I said that there is an abundance of good guys, but they are not interesting enough for most girls. I think dating for those good guys is way harder. She did not agree, so what would you guys tell her the hardest part of dating is as a man, from your own experience or otherwise? Story 1. Dating as a woman is the hardest thing in the world because you can never find a good guy. The hardest part about dating as a man is that you're never good enough. Story 2. The hardest part of dating as a man who isn't exceptionally attractive is keeping the woman interested long enough for her to see your charm, humor, and positive qualities. Personality does count, but it's a moot point when most women will ghost or dismiss you long before you get a chance to show what a charismatic and fun person you can be. Story 3. Constant rejection. I have seen female friends cry for hours over the fact that one guy said no when they asked him out, and how awful it was and how guys could never understand how they feel. Lady, guys get rejected all the time. We know how it feels. Story 4. For men, it's the absence of opportunity on dating apps, the staggering lack of matches, the occasional match that goes unreplied, the conversation that evaporates after saying hi, the maybe date that never materializes. It's also the fear of social alienation or punishment in real life, as the internet has socialized young men to view approaching women as harmful or annoying, according faux pas. This puts men into a losing position as they don't approach and are left unapproached. Essentially a ship sailing alone, afraid to hail other ships and ignored by those who sail around them. Story 5. This is true. I saw myself as a catch because I owned my own place, had a master's degree, was making a high 5-figure income, and took care of myself, yet I still couldn't date anyone. Ironically, now that I'm older and they are older, the tables have turned because I'm stable. But I've been stable. What changed? Story 6. Great meme I saw recently. I told my homegirl I attract bad boys. Her friend, you're a pretty woman. You attract everyone. Then you choose bad boys. Story 7. Laugh out loud. Her saying, never find a good guy implies she's meeting men, but they don't meet her standards. Have her create a Tinder account and use pictures of an average guy. Then challenge her to get one date. She will realize how easy she has it within a week. Story 8. Nothing has humbled my female friends more than trying a fake profile of our good-looking male friend to date on Bumble or Tinder. They chose the pictures, took new ones of him, and wrote out his profile. Got 28 matches and no dates in a month and gave up. Story 9. I can't speak for the majority, but ever since I stepped out of college, dating has become sort of transactional. Through non-work social networking and private events, they say I look like a one-night kind of guy. At work events, I always sense that they just want to use me for my network. However, the best dating experiences I've had were from girls I met while volunteering in exercise groups or when I'm abroad. It's just more wholesome to meet people without introducing yourself as someone from a particular industry. They judge you for who you are without the added labels. Story 10. She's wrong. Dating is on average more difficult for men. Dating may be easier for the top 2% of men than it is for the top 2% of women, but for 98% of men, dating is definitely harder than it is for their female counterpart. Having said that, it is also true that dating is difficult for women, just not as difficult. Since I'm not a man, I won't answer the original poster's question from a male point of view, but I will say that for me, as a woman, the hardest part about dating was distinguishing between the good guys and those who pretend to be good to get some attention. Story 11. You have maximal expectations with minimal reciprocation most of the time. I have no idea why, as a man, we are programmed and convinced to be unhappy without women. If you get the right one, it's magical, and I won't deny that. But when it's bad, it's like staring at an airstrike on your hometown, and there's no one to hold her accountable if it's taken too far. Story 12. Having unrealistic standards is why she can't find a good man, and bad boys give her the excitement, so she keeps on chasing those. Dating as a man, especially in your 30s, is incredibly hard these days. You need to have so many things before you even have a small chance. I'm tall, not bad looking, have a good job in my own place, in fairly decent shape, and I'm still struggling to get any interest from women. The only ones who do show interest are single moms, which I don't want. So, no, dating as a woman is not nearly as bad as for men. Women picking bad partners is their own fault. Most of the time, they know it's a bad choice and still go with it. Story 13. The feelings of inadequacy and hopelessness that come from being ignored by women all your life or being treated like you're a horrible monster just because you exist. I personally think that both men and women have it hard, but for different reasons, and neither side is willing to acknowledge any kind of fault in their own behavior. Instead, they would rather put all the blame on the other side. Story 14. But to answer your question, dating is much harder for men for several reasons. 1. Men are generally expected to do the pursuit, which carries a much larger risk of rejection. Men have much more pressure to contribute to the relationship, such as paying and being romantic, whereas women can often get away with doing far less. Women are taught from birth to respect themselves. Men are taught to respect women. Both of these are good things, but it doesn't go the other way. Men are often expected to tolerate more bad treatment than women. Statistics show that women think 80% of men are below average in looks, which is not mathematically possible. The same isn't true when the genders are reversed. Story 15. Get the book Self-Made Man by Nora Vincent. It was written by a woman, so she can't discount it as misogyny. Ms. Vincent had the same thoughts and went out to prove it. She admits she got it wrong, and men aren't as privileged as women think. Here's an interview she did to promote the book. Story 16. It's the amount of competition. Back in college, before all the online dating applications, you were just essentially competing with other guys in that general area at that time. Now, you're competing with every male within your specific age range within a 50-mile radius or more. Also, your profile needs to be exciting and interesting enough. When I first started online dating before I was married, you just needed a couple of photos. Now, 10 years later and divorced, I need a picture of me on a mountaintop, a picture of me not too close but not too far away. I need a picture of me with friends, but not too many friends. And I need a candid photo of me doing something outside. I luckily met my current girlfriend after using Hinge for a couple of weeks, but I absolutely hated the experience. Story 17. After a while, it feels like going hat in hand asking for money trying to get a date for Saturday night. I mean, if a female friend approached me and asked me to set her up with a 5'11", 160-pound single guy who likes to bike, rollerblade, and has a slight British accent and is studying physics, my reply would be, I can do that, but can probably only get 4 guys that match this description exactly, and it's going to take me about 20 minutes. Whereas when you ask a female friend if she has any single friends that would be interested in a guy like me, I get a quick reply of no. Story 18. It's funny when you hear women saying they can't find a good guy, and as a guy you're like, you mean you can actually find anyone at all? Women go through their own struggles, and I'm not trying to downplay that, but I don't think most of them understand what it's like when you have no options because it seems like no one wants you in the first place. That's lonely and destroys your self-esteem. Women might complain that they can't find a good dude, but at least there are guys pursuing them. There's a degree of self-worth there, whereas guys can feel like they have no worth. The thing too is that women have that inherent self-worth because they're women. They don't have to make themselves more interesting, or at least not until they get older. The most given advice on this forum for dating is that we need to improve ourselves and make ourselves more desirable to women. We need to work out, build our careers, acquire hobbies and skills, get out of our comfort zone, and learn how to communicate and approach. What do most women need to do? Mostly to look pretty and show up. Don't be an unpleasant person and you're good. There's a reason why there's a growing number of guys just walking away from the dating scene entirely. All that effort and appending your life just to be told you're a good person, you're just not attractive enough. I think the reason a lot, not all, of older single women end up bitter and angry is because they are now experiencing what it's like to be a man in dating, especially concerning older men still being attracted to younger women. Again, not disparaging women, they might be able to get a lot of dates, but a relationship is another story. A lot of women struggle to actually find a guy that's not just trying to exploit them emotionally. I'm just saying that, in my opinion, I would prefer to be in the position that women are in versus what guys have to go through. I'm fairly successful when I put in the effort, but that experience can be exhausting at times. Story 19. Women who like breadcrumbing and only provide one-line, dead-end responses to thoughtful conversation starters. The entitlement that comes with the entertain and impress me mentality that some women have while contributing little to nothing to the interaction. That said, the fact of the matter is dating is not the goal. You shouldn't want or expect to have meaningful interactions with most people. The goal of dating is to find someone who accepts and loves you for who you are and gives you permission to exist just as you are. At least it is for me anyway. Whether you find yourself more often in the hookup zone or friend zone, this is probably a difficult proposition regardless of gender. Story 20. The hardest part as a young man was that following the advice and literal statements from women on what they want in a dating partner turns you into a nice guy. You have to just know that there is a mile-long list of other requirements unstated by her that she may not even be consciously aware of, like you need to seriously hit the gym for those impressive gains, and always be hustling for more money. Story 21. I tell her the same thing, that finding a good woman is difficult, even though there is an abundance of good women through the eyes and standards of women, kind of like us men. I guarantee you there is a surplus and outright disproportionate amount of good men in the world who remain unlucky. It's because that standard is from a man's standpoint, not a woman's. Just like how guys get doubtful when a hot female friend says they have a cute friend for them to set us up with. It's because we think it'll be the plus-sized, tag-along friend with a great personality who usually is there to make the hot female friend look hotter. It's the same. All those good men that those women aren't giving a chance to are probably short, have a dead-end job, like video games too much, are into a sports team religiously, don't have cleaning or grooming standards, but have a knockout personality and could really make a room laugh with a round of drinks and think about the Roman Empire 5 times a week. It's almost like women should date women, and men should date men. Story 22. Navigating the dating scene is like trying to browse a strange Eastern European deli. For some reason, it's stocked with 90% sausage, which is fine. There is nothing wrong with sausage, but it's not what I'm looking for. Another 5% is odd stuff that smells funny, and the actual things I'm looking for are kept in the back for some reason. Also, for some inexplicable reason, only people named Nicola know to ask the shopkeeper for what is kept in the deep freezer. People like me are just wandering the aisles aimlessly and trying to remember what the exchange rate is. Story 23A. Because if you met the girl online, you are literally competing with probably dozens of other guys for her attention. You always have to pay. B doesn't sound that bad on the surface, but it adds up and sometimes starts to feel as though we are being taken for granted. It feels like we are escorting this beautiful princess around, which everyone loves and adores. Everyone is fawning over her. If you make one mistake, she's gone and on to the next one. You're just some chump who happens to have the credit card tonight, paying for everything. Even the silly little add-ons she orders and doesn't eat. Did you really have to order that appetizer? You didn't even eat it. See, you'll spend the whole night talking about her and her problems. Nobody cares how you feel. Nobody wants to hear about your day or your life. You're there to keep the girl entertained. And if you can't do that, then there are 10 guys waiting on her phone to take her out at any moment. Story 24. Her attitude is why she can't find a good guy. A good guy wouldn't date someone with such a toxic outlook and doesn't take any accountability. If all the guys you date are bad, then the common denominator is you. Story 25. Women have it very easy. I make over $500,000 as a physician. Before I met my wife, I dated countless women who thought my income was the standard. These are women who worked at Walgreens as waitresses, school teachers, and other below-average jobs. Earning $500,000 a year is in the top 0.1% of income. Barely 10% of men even make $100,000 a year. Unrealistic expectations, and then I was called shallow for only dating skinny women without children, who make up 10% of the female population ages 18 to 29. Story 26. Having to build yourself up means taking all the risks. Initiating conversation, planning dates, risking looking foolish, facing rejection, and working to get a couple of dates lined up while she just has guys endlessly asking her out. A woman's value is intrinsic. She just has to be relatively pretty, not overweight, sweet, and feminine. That's all. Men, on the other hand, need to be financially stable, acquire assets, gain charisma and confidence, and work out to build muscle and be charming. More men are completely alone, while more women have attention, dates, suitors, and intimacy whenever they want. They may not always be with the specific man they desire, but they don't have to be alone if they don't want to be. All marriage risks are on men. In divorce, the man almost always has to pay the woman alimony and continue working to support her. Courts almost always take the children from the men and give them to the women, requiring him to pay her. Joint custody is not the norm. Most states have no-fault divorce, meaning she can cheat or simply get bored and then take half his possessions, take the kids, and get alimony. Divorce laws really should be revised so that men are more protected in legal unions.